Someone's finally done it, guys. Canadians finally done it. We're talking about the number one most anticipated policy from the government at this point: universal basic income in Canada. My guy Matt Cart stepped into the play. I was, I think about UBI all the time, um, especially given how many automations I've built. We're trying to build like and since I've been watching a couple of the videos that I've recorded, and trying to get a gauge on like what's good and what's bad and stuff like that. Reading your guys' comments, you guys are so mean. Oh my god! But a couple of these videos, especially the ones like talking about the the technical side of AI, is extremely boring. Like I've passed out listening to my own videos. That's how boring they are. So that's okay. If you're looking for something to put you to sleep, no problem. Go to some of the earlier videos we had when we had no subscribers. I guess the stuff now is a little bit more exciting. You guys are really liking and subscribing, so I'm having to make more. But here's a video from Matt Cart, my guy, makes great content. He's a Canadian. We're gonna go through it. Universal basic income has been on my mind for a while. We're starting to see the bottom rungs of society literally fall out. People are looking for jobs, can barely pay their mortgages. Meanwhile, you have the super hyper producers and the large conglomerates profiting more than ever. So I think UBI is on the horizon. And if you don't know what that is, it's universal basic income. It's when everyone gets a paycheck from the government every month just to pay for things to live. But what ends up happening is everything spikes up in price and the quality of life for a lot of people ends up plummeting. So let's take a look.
You guys why the guaranteed basic income bill isn't going to work at all in Canada. So again, the structure of GBI is for people over 17 to be able to get a basic income regardless of whether they work or not.
Well, I won't lie, they got there faster than I even thought they'd get there. Guaranteed basic income is pretty much universal basic income, right? Is that what is happening here in Canada? We're going to discuss it in today's video because it looks like it's right on the horizon. So we're going to dig into this subject today and react to a bunch of videos as well on TikTok. Also, if you guys find yourself coming back to the channel, please consider subscribing. About 70% of you have not yet subscribed. So if you find yourself coming back and watching more content, please consider subscribing. With that being said, let's dive straight into today's video topic.
Canada is considering a guaranteed universal basic income program. While universal basic income is income for all, what the government is discussing here is guaranteed basic income, where payments would only go to low-income individuals. And Canada's Parliamentary Budget Officer found that a UBI program would cut poverty rates by almost half, but would cost about $85 billion a year.
And where would they actually get the money to fund it? Would it just be from taxpayers, like people making more than the low income qualification that you'd actually have to need to get this program to benefit you in any way? So it's not really universal basic income, because universal basic income means everyone gets a bit of money just so you can live, right? Pretty much.
So we gotta really pay attention now. Oh, this might upset a few people. Hardworking people pay their taxes. If you're upset by the idea that people who don't have a job for whatever reason, they might have a disability, they might be quite capable, but job market's trash. Hell, they might be someone who literally doesn't want to work and just wants to sit on their sofa and watch Netflix all day. They all qualify for guaranteed income of however much a month. And I don't know how much more the Canadian taxpayer can take, but if you start asking reliable, loyal, trustworthy Canadians that are breaking their backs paying taxes right now to pay even more, so that the people who don't work or can't find work or are unable to work can continue to be propped up in this fairy tale of society we have here in Canada at this point. I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy about that, and I can tell you right now, the backlash from people earning good money, or earning maybe some people just earning barely enough Like, where's the line where it says, you don't qualify for this and you do? Let's just say you qualify for this if you're making less than $25,000 a year. What if you're making 26? What if you're making 27? Like, it's such a hard conversation to have. If you're only giving a certain group of people money and other people have to pay, that's a lot different from than everyone getting money. So, in Canada, we often acclimate to the programs that are supporting the most vulnerable of us. We're often um, trying to uh, give support to those who look like on the surface that they need it. But I really don't know about Canadian taxpayers paying the bills of people who don't have jobs or income. That to me is a big question mark. Like, we're spending a lot of stuff. We're spending money on a lot of stuff that's increasing the price of a lot of things. And when you start to give money to people who aren't earning it, or who, and they might really appreciate it, but a lot of the time, some of them don't. You're going to get a kangaroo market. So let's pay attention.
This is guaranteed basic income for anyone who's lower income in Canada. So if you are self-employed, it's a little trickier because it's more stated income. So if you're self-employed, it's going to be very hard to actually qualify for this. So to qualify, you'd probably have to have like a minimum wage job, not even getting 40 hours a week, and then maybe you can actually qualify for this guaranteed basic income, but it's going to cost.
The Quadlock Black Friday sale is on now.
Here we go,
For a
guys.
limited
More
time,
technology
you can get
for Black
30%
Friday.
off.
Jesus.
Cost a lot of money, and most likely it is going to come out of taxpayers' wallets.
In Canada right now, we need basic income. Nobody should have to live under $2,000 a month. Nobody. This includes the homeless. This includes seniors. This includes disadvantaged people, people with disabilities. Nobody, not even the normal person, should live below $2,000 a month. And the government should ensure that we have that money. Because of automation, jobs are being lost. Because of AI, jobs are being lost. Where are these people going to go? We need a society that has something for the jobless, a guarantee of an income. That's what I believe.
Now, I think that he obviously is for guaranteed basic income. There's going to be other people that we're going to react to as well who are actually against it, and they put out their reasons as to why. I think it's just interesting that it's not universal basic income, because essentially, if those things are true, like, of course, AI is taking a lot of jobs away. We have tariffs that are taking away jobs. Jobs are leaving Canada as well, going to other countries. Then shouldn't it just be like universal basic income then? Like, everyone gets a piece of income, because you could lose your job at any moment, right? And then you'd have to qualify for guaranteed basic income anyways.
Very clever, Matt.
So it's not quite universal basic income. It's just helping out right now the lowest income people. And again, if you're self-employed, it's going to be a little more difficult to actually qualify for this. Just people who work like a minimum wage job. That's essentially all this is.
So, like, I'm self-employed. Like, everyone who starts a business, you start self-employed. No one gives a shit about you. The government doesn't give a shit about you. They want you to exist, because eventually, if you succeed, you can hire Canadians for a salary and wages, and provide stability to the economy. But now we're at a point where employers are no longer wanting to hire so much. We're seeing waves of layoffs, quite literally in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in the States, across every sector. And those companies are benefiting from these layoffs in the form of shareholder value, increasing stock prices. So we're coming to a point now, guys, where there's going to be, and this is what I see in society, there's going to be a small group of people who are hyper producers to the point where they're like well harnessing technology, or well equipped with technology, harnessing a lot of power and money, making very, very influential decisions that affect the lives of millions. And then you're going to have the rest of humanity. And my fear, and this is why I tell you guys, please, like, really, really study AI, or at least understand how it can work for you, how you can be more efficient. Because that group that I'm talking to right now, they're going to race ahead. And they're going to, produce, create income, revenue, all that stuff. I guess they're going to pay a larger share of taxes to the government. And those people are going to have to pay for the rest of humanity, like everyone else, because the jobs in between are being consolidated into technology. Like it's very apparent. I mean, you're talking. This is coming from a guy who's I spent quite literally all day building AI agents, interpreting financial information with AI. Uh, what else did I do? Jesus Christ, what a day! I'm gonna have this content configured and prettied up with using AI and built into shorts. Like AI has completely taken over all the operations in my life, but it's allowed me to do a lot more. It's allowed me to earn more, like bottom line. So I imagine that it's those people who decide that they want to work, they want to be hyper producers and obviously enjoy the life that comes with being that. You got to do work. I mean, you got to be, or either be really smart, but somehow you're producing a lot. Those people are going to enjoy the finer things in life. They're going to do like a serious amount of work. They're going to be able to go on vacation, have big houses, all that stuff, cars. Oh, okay. Everyone else is going to be relegated to what this guaranteed income or this state of not working but receiving enough to live. That's a like we're talking about like the animal kingdom. In the animal kingdom, if you cannot produce enough in your community or for yourself and like and protect your resources, if you're not resourceful, you die. Like that's the bottom line in the animal kingdom. If you are not resourceful, you do not survive. But with human beings, we're doing something different that's probably not been done before. We are creating an environment where even those who are not resourceful or producing for whatever reason, they are still going to survive and they're still going to take from a system that needs to support everyone, the ecosystem, our society. So it gets really philosophical and deep because for me, like if I'm making like hundreds of millions of dollars, that would be that would be a dream. Well, great. You wouldn't see me making YouTube videos. But if I was making that much, there is so much in that for me to be able to live and survive, but also even just like the interest that comes off of that money can support thousands of people, millions of people. It's just whether or not I'm choosing to do that with my money. Now, most people with that amount of money probably aren't thinking about that all the time. You have philanthropists. But if something like this, guaranteed basic income or universal basic income for those who have low wages, if that starts to exist, then these hyper producers, these high earners, it's like the people who are receiving these checks are going to literally have to thank rich people for allowing to support their lives. So this idea of like the let's down the 1%, all this stuff, like these people are literally going to be paying for the UBI guys. It's going to suck, but you're going to have to thank them.
So it's like stimulus payments to people making less income. Now let's hear some opinions from people who are against this guaranteed basic income.
So let me show you guys why the guaranteed basic income bill isn't going to work at all in Canada. So again, the structure of GBI is for people over 17 to be able to get a basic income regardless of whether they work or not. Again, it's welfare without any qualifications required. So let's assume this is how the current program works. Now, this is obviously not representative of the population or the actual budget. It's just pictures to show how it works. Let's say the budget is $300 and it's all divided into three main pockets: disability, welfare, and veterans. And every single person within each of these programs get $20 a piece. And off to the side, there are people that are in the lowest tax bracket but don't fit in any of these social programs. Now, the GLBI is a way for people to gather that budget from all these other programs because they want to shut these programs down and include the people in the red. So theoretically, this is how GLBI.
We were close. Strange times. Masterclass. I get a new masterclass ad. I get a new masterclass ad probably once a day, and I am considering a couple of them. But damn, they have like hundreds of impressions on me. To convert me, the cost per acquisition is probably going to be like in the thousands.
Everyone would be in one thing, because you'll be using the funds of the other social programs that got shut down to help fund this. Just basing it off the original funds, it's much less per person. Now people are saying, oh, well, if we cut corporate welfare, we'll be able to pay everyone in GLBI a lot more. Well, what the people don't understand is that if we are to cut corporate welfare in order to fund this program, why are we not currently doing it with this program? If the government didn't want to cut corporate welfare to help people with disability on welfare or our veterans, you think they're going to cut it when all of the other people are involved in it? But here's the thing, I'm already 2 steps ahead about what the reason for this whole situation is, because this is how the government's actually going to set up the system. Because this is how the liberal government has always set up systems. You have the original budget, and you're going to fit in as many people in the middle to create red tapes and create jobs to leech off as much of the taxpayers' money as possible before the actual funds reach the individual. If the government hasn't cut corporate welfare to fund this program, they're not going to cut corporate welfare to fund this program. I support this program. This program needs increased funding. The problem is because this program is already well established and the hierarchies are already determined, if the funding does increase for this program and the people don't get any more but brand new positions all of a sudden pop up, it's very obvious. You can't hide the embezzlement that way. By the way, all the people in the red circle there, the question should be asked, why is someone in the lowest tax bracket unable to feed and house themselves? Sounds like the improper spending of the government has finally caught up with everyone, and they're trying to spend more of our taxpayer money to try and silence the poorest of us all, just so they can gain their votes for the next time.
So I don't know if you guys took that. That was deep. That was really deep. This guy just literally said, "Why are people who do not have disabilities and who are not veterans and who are not in these three groups that are already getting support, why are they not able to feed themselves?" Tough times ahead, guys. We're going to have capable people who are able to read, write, and talk, but not have any money to buy food. That's generally not what happens. Like back in the day, if you went if your life went astray and you fell down into the, like, let's just say medieval times, you fell into the streets, like it's probably because you had some sort of um, mental distress, or it's medieval times. You pick up a sword, you fight, you try and live. You can steal stuff, you can whatever you got to do, and you survive. No one's got swords these days. Like everyone's got a cell phone. Jesus Christ, we are approaching a very difficult time, guys, and the big problem with that I see, I mean, universal basic income is once you got to that point, something in your economy is snapped. Guaranteed basic income looks like an entryway to that. But once you get to this point, it's already over. You're literally just trying to suture a profusely dripping wound. Like it's too overwhelming an issue for a couple people to get money. We need to have more industries. We need to have more businesses that can hire people. That is how a society stays strong. Like companies. It's not through giving everyone a little bit, because you can't rely on every one of these individuals or a large majority of the individuals to practice financial discipline or make sound financial decisions. You can't. So a lot of this money is going to go into the hands of people who generally won't be so good with money. Because if they were good with money, and that's the thing, money is a very unforgiving entity in our world. It usually falls into the hands of those who are most caring of it. Those who do not appreciate it tend to lose it, or at least tend to have less of it. And it sounds like a shitty thing for me to say, but I remember a time when I had less respect for money. I'll take out a loan, take out that. Oh yeah, I can take out a loan. Use my credit card. Da, da, da. Now I am protective of my credit card. Like I'd only use my credit card if I know what I'm spending the money on is going to result in making more money. So once you adopt that sort of mentality, you're perspective changes on things. And back at one point in time, if you asked me if I thought UBI was a good idea, I probably would have said, "Yeah, get everyone money. Let's go. Let's get everyone get money." That person, that version of me, did not respect money. In my older years, after watching humans try and live and seeing that not everyone has the wherewithal to manage money properly, I would have looked back at that previous version of myself and said, "You're an idiot. You don't deserve to have money because you don't know how to treat it properly." Once you learn how to treat it properly, it will come to you in droves. And sometimes it comes so fast, you gotta, yeah.
But again, the guaranteed livable basic income, the GLBI or the GBI, is not possible with the current systems and money that we have. Because if you can't pay a livable wage when less people qualify for it, how can you pay a livable wage when everyone qualifies for it?
Interesting takes. I mean, I think he's wrong on his last point, though, because according to the actual bill, it's not for everyone. It's for just low-income people to actually qualify.
I think
So
he meant
not everyone is going to
who's not
qualify
low.
for it. But it is interesting to see that they're trying to get this passed soon. And if it gets passed, we could also see more inflation, because if it's not coming out of
100%.
taxpayers' money
We're seeing
directly
inflation.
and out of their wallets, it's going to have to be some form of quantitative easing and more spending by the current government.
And
So if you're a
stock
Canadian, I'm
market
sure
rip.
you've heard of this Bill S-206 that has been approved in the Senate, is now headed to committee study. This is a big conversation right now in Canada about the idea of a guaranteed livable basic income, or UBI, whatever you want to call it. Now, as like someone who has empathy for others and who can show compassion, I do understand that there's a need to try and help people who are in poverty, but I don't view a guaranteed basic income as really that much of a solution.
Yeah, it's not.
If we look here, this is going over the cost of what the guaranteed basic income would be. This is a 6-month period. This is province by province. If you actually take the numbers federally on an annual basis, what it would cost Canadians is $93 billion, which is more than federal healthcare transfers than GST costs Canadians. So just something to think about. Now, we saw what happened when the government came out with things like CERB, the student benefit during COVID. All this inflationary spending has just driven up the cost of everything. Inflation is up, and I truly believe that if we did implement some sort of guaranteed basic income, that we would again just see more inflation come out of it. Now, this is kind of like their news release. It talks about how Canada is losing tens of billions of dollars every year due to inadequate and expensive responses to the poverty response. I don't disbelieve the fact that there's loss in those programs. I guarantee a ton of those programs need to be reworked. It's just I don't think that a guaranteed livable basic income is the solution. We've seen other countries try and do this. Does not end up going very well. We saw how CERB ended up. It just disincentivizes people to work, right?
Exactly.
So it's unfortunate. I hope that this does not happen. I mean, things like this have been tabled before. Leah Gazan from Winnipeg has tried tabling legislation to try and push for universal basic income before. It's unlikely this goes anywhere. It's just an interesting conversation to have. And me personally, I am against a universal basic income, but I do agree that we need to revamp our programs to help support those who are living in poverty.
What do you guys think about this new bill? Do you think it's going to be a benefit to a lot of Canadians? Do you think it's going to lead to inflation like he just said? Do you think that there is positives here? But ultimately, what I want you guys to share down in the comment section is if you think this will actually help in a real, meaningful way. Because at the end of the day, if the government's just throwing money at things and hoping that it'll solve the inevitable decline in Canada, it really does feel like a panicked reaction, right? Like a knee-jerk reaction. I don't know if this is going to really do anything, but I want your thoughts down below in the comment section. With that being said, I hope you guys learned something from today's video, and if you did, again, down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.
So that was a great video. Matt, I'll give you ratings. Matt, I probably got a few subscribers from just watching your videos, but man, to think that we have overextended the convenience and comfort of living as humans. Like that's how I look at this. Like ever since I started using AI, I've just looked at the world differently. Like what we consider to be work before is now rendered instantaneously. So productivity, the definition of productivity has to change. Like it's at a fundamental level. Like AI to me is going to be the most quintessential inflection point in humanity. Like it's the we just walked over the event horizon into the future. Not everyone's supposed to make it, guys. In the jungle, in the animal kingdom of a species, there is like a large group of that species that just doesn't make it to adulthood for whatever reason. Humans are the only species where the vast majority of us, like the vast majority of us, make it to be adults. Why do you think fertility rate, or like what's a fertility rate, one that measures babies per the number of babies that pass during birth? I can't remember what the exact names are. It's sad stuff. But, we have the lowest amongst most species because we have technology, we have healthcare, and this has allowed a lot of people with borderline zero survival skills to survive, which is fine. I mean, I'm a human, so I have to have some level of empathy for other humans. It's like, hey, great, you made it to tomorrow. Let's see if we can make it to the next day. But at the same time, the system to which we reside is not meant for everyone to make it all the time to survive. And we're quite literally seeing our jungle, so to speak, made up of our economy, made up of technology, jobs, money. That's our jungle, is uh, uh, starting to implement natural selection, where not everyone gets to have a job, not everyone gets to get income. That's why I stress learning tech, guys. Like I can't stress this type of stuff enough, because if we're at the point of universal basic income, we're going to have to start paying for people that don't pay for themselves, who can't pay for themselves. I don't know how, if you're a person who works hard and pays a lot in taxes, how would you feel about our government budget literally needing to like double? So however much the government's taking now, they would need to double up on that in order to just provide for the 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 least earning amongst us. Not even everyone. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I for me, it's almost a half hour. Like it's night. I'm exhausted. I just can't believe it. I really can't believe something like this is being considered at the highest level of governments in Canada. Because if something like this does pass, you are going to see an absolute political fissure in this country. It's going to be a political fissure between the haves and the have-nots. It's going to be the separation that everyone was waiting for. It's going to be like votes will be cast, guys. Anyways, if you like this type of conversation, hit like and subscribe. We love it. If you don't like what I'm saying, we get so many mean comments, guys. But you know what? I don't mind it. Like if you have something mean to say, or you think I hurt your feelings or something, just leave it in the comments, guys. Hit a dislike, because what ends up happening is the large language models and Google's indexing algorithm, it sees your engagement with us and it sends us more business. So we appreciate all engagement here on Peak Demand. Looking forward to the next one. Bye now.